We do start with big breaking news in the swamp. Finally, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker in name only, and the House Democrats have finally agreed to send over their BS articles of impeachment to the Senate tomorrow. Because Democrats know these articles are so laughably weak, they have now decided to include brand new, a trove of documents that were not presented during their sham impeachment proceeding. This 25th hour of desperation reeks of more pathetic Trump rage, psychosis, and derangement. And get this, all the new documents, they center around quid, pro, and quo, and Joe and his son, zero experience Hunter, and the international pay-for-play scheme. Now, remember I've always said that a president, any president, does have a sworn duty to faithfully execute the laws of the land. Please remember that little part. Put that in the compartment in your brain. But if you read these new findings, you will quickly see how politically skewed their new information, their trove of documents is. Now, look at this new material we're learning tonight. Biden, to them, is completely innocent. You're not getting the billion unless you fire the prosecutor investigating Hunter. They mentioned that numerous times. He's innocent. Okay, I don't even think they believe that, to be honest. They call the accusations against him false over and over and over again. They've exonerated Joe and Hunter. They definitively say the Ukrainian prosecutors, named Shokin, that Biden forced out, he was the corrupt one, all while totally omitting Joe Biden's bragging and public comments about shaking them down. You fire the guy, you get the billion. You don't fire the guy, you don't get the billion. Got 6 hours, son of a bee. Take a look.
We're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said, I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, what, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a got fired.
That's why it's like a scam impeachment. Very same prosecutor. Now, the prosecutor's investigating Hunter, Biden's son, zero experience Hunter. Remember, Hunter was getting paid millions and millions to serve on the board of a corrupt Ukrainian oil, gas, energy company. He had no relevant experience in Ukraine, oil, gas whatsoever. None. So did the Democrats, did they bother to look into why zero experience Hunter was getting rich? Compliments of this shady Ukrainian company, all while his father was in charge of Ukraine policy for the Obama administration. Now, for the simplest explanation, let's just go to Hunter Biden himself, 49-year-old kid, the worst interview any 49-year-old has ever given, except maybe Alec Baldwin. Take a look.
You didn't have any extensive knowledge about natural gas or Ukraine itself, though.
No, but I think that I had as much knowledge as anybody else that was on the board, if not more.
In the list that you gave me of the reasons why you're on that board, you did not list the fact that you were the son of the vice president.
Yeah, no.
What role do you think that played?
I think that it is impossible for me to be on any of the boards that I just mentioned without saying that I'm the son of the vice president of the United States.
If your last name wasn't Biden, do you think you would have been asked to be on the board of Burisma?
I don't know. I don't know. Probably not. I don't think that there's a lot of things that would have happened in my life that if my last name wasn't Biden.
If your last name wasn't Biden, would you have gotten millions and millions? Probably not. Oh, so what company? You think of any company that would pay millions and millions of dollars to someone with zero experience? Answer. The only company that would pay millions and millions to somebody for zero experience is a company trying to corruptly buy influence. And in this case, that would be his father, the second highest ranking at the time elected official in America. Quid pro and quo Joe, bragging on tape, leveraging the billion. Fire the prosecutor, you don't get the $1 billion. Our dollars, by the way. And, of course, we know there's zero experience at all there. Now, tonight, there's new bogus evidence, last minute, brought to you by who? The compromised in this particular Ukrainian case. Oh, and caught on tape, conspiring with real Russians to dig up dirt on Donald Trump to influence an election. The congenital liar himself, Adam Schiff, came from him. The abusively biased, corrupt Schiff himself in an 11th hour Hail Mary pass. Now, you Senate Republicans, don't buy into this charade. This is an assault on your body, an assault on our Constitution. Remember, you have the sole power. It's right there in the Constitution. You try all impeachments. It is not your role, Constitution clear again, to sort through and investigate and fix and reinvestigate troves of documents the sloppy House Democrats neglected to include in their bogus articles of impeachment. Because the Constitution clearly states the House has the sole power to impeach, not you guys in the Senate. It's not the role of the Senate to interview witnesses that Nadler and Schiff failed to subpoena. They impeached him. Now House managers will present their case to you. This is their case. This is their constitutional role. Remember, it was so urgent that they urgently did this just before Christmas and urgently went on vacation. Senate tries the House articles before them and renders a verdict of the House articles of impeachment. That's it. That's your job. After stalling the so-called urgent process for nearly a month as a part of a bizarre strategy, try and tell Mitch McConnell how to do his job and fulfill his constitutional role, finally the process is moving forward without any concessions from the Senate Majority Leader. Good for him. Pelosi, looks stupid, inept, and delusional, as usual. And according to reports, a very angry Nancy is now telling her colleagues Mitch McConnell might be a Russian op because he wouldn't play nice with her insane demands. Today, she even tweeted, quote, American elections should be decided by the American people, not by the Russian government. Retweet if you agree. Wow, she finally discovered the dirty Russian dossier that was likely Russian disinformation that Hillary paid for. Is she talking about that? I tend to doubt it. This coming from a person who wants to undo an election that happened 3 years ago. In 294 days, we have another election. And based on these two articles of impeachment, rammed through without any bipartisan support that she said any impeachment articles would need. She didn't get that. Remember, just last year, claiming needs to be a bipartisan initiative. Instead, what we saw over the past 100 days was purely a partisan scheme to negate the vote of over 62 million, bloody up the president politically as he now moves towards re-election in 294 days. Political hatchet job. It stems from two very simple basic facts. One, the left has not, cannot, will not ever accept the results of the 2016 election. Guess what? 294 days, you get to shock the world again. Democrats and the mob and the media. And two, they are scared President Trump will destroy them in 2020. Imagine for a second if the news says on election night or early the next day, we can now project Donald J. Trump has been reelected the 45th president of the United States. It's just worth the price of admission. And tonight, they have every reason to be worried. Far away from the D.C. swamp and the coastal elites in New York, San Francisco, L.A., and D.C., wow, we had a packed stadium last night, national championship game in New Orleans. President Trump, the First Lady, they walked out, wow, crowds cheering loudly, chanting 4 more years, chanting USA. Let's watch the powerful moment. Take it all in. If I was a Democrat, I don't think I'd like this. Wow. 4 more years, USA. When Americans, we the people, you show up to the polls, ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Because the answer to that question is crystal clear. President oversaw the single biggest tax cut in American history, as promised, ending burdensome regulation, more than's happened in 60 years combined. Promised, made, kept. He appointed the original justices he promised he would all over the country, including 2 to the Supreme Court of the United States. He renegotiated all those trade deals. He said he wanted free and fair trade. He secured funding for the border wall. We expect 400 miles by November next year. And he just got another $7.2 billion for that border wall today. And he empowered American energy. We are now a net exporter of energy, the world's largest producer of oil. Straits of Hormuz, not that important to us anymore. That hasn't happened in 75 years. And don't forget, the world is a safer place now that Baghdadi and the terrorists who killed Americans, Soleimani, are dead. The United States now has the single lowest unemployment rate since 1969. Some of you weren't even born yet. 8 million Americans now have been lifted off of food stamps, and we have nearly 8 million new jobs created, incomes rising all across the board. Now, what has the Democratic Party done the last 4 years to contribute to your prosperity, your safety, and your security for you and your families? Well, I can report to you tonight, absolutely nothing. They have whined, they have complained, they have lied, they have schemed, they have pushed conspiracy theories and hoax, they smear, besmirch, slander. They obsess over one conspiracy theory, then when it's wrong, they move on to another one, even made excuses for an evil Iranian regime. They want to go back bribing those mullahs again with $150 billion, and called everyone who makes them mad a Russian asset. And by the way, pretty pathetic 4-year track record of the Democratic Party. And come next week, they will reap what they sow. Hunter Biden now, by the way, could be called to testify in that Senate trial. We'll have more on that in a moment.